I need you on the channel.
Good, good. I
Best
think you need
best
your saving
reunion.
throws for today.
Oh yes, please.
I mean, you're at ARC, right?
I
And
am.
everybody else does. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Can you resist the new WEF out with the old WEF, in with the new WEF? Mind control. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Oh,
What? What?
survivalists, not one.
Ooh.
Socialists, 19. Prime 19 for
Oh.
the socialists. Pairing it up with the survivalists. Wisdom lovers, not one.
Oh, I am colonizing. I am colonizing like a boss today.
Hard folks, you got a 5. All you need is a replay comment and you'll make it. Indigo kids, you got this disciples. Disciples.
There we go.
You. All right. Indigo kids. Oh, bird. Disciples.
Oh, Burn, you got to turn off the other.
He did it. He did.
Okay, good.
All right. No, bird. Disciples. That you got to stop it in YouTube. Is all.
You got to stop
It's
it in
still
YouTube
running
and
over
only
there.
listen in StreamYard. Go ahead, Chris.
This responsible citizens they're selling. What I need from them is a definition of a responsible citizen. Like, how involved in my city council is a responsible citizen? How does a responsible citizen hold their state legislatures accountable? That's I don't know what they're doing, but that's the product that I need for me to believe they know anything about responsible citizenship at this point.
Well, in all fairness, these are ministers of parliament. These are very accomplished people here.
Accomplished, but they're if they want to make us the plebes responsible citizens and competent members of democracies and such, we need explicit instructions, like on how to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich. We're pretty dumb out here.
Oh, good point, Grizz.
There's
good
my
point.
piece. It's good to see you.
Favorite new relationship from the trip so far? Martin Shaw. Oh, I had tons of time with Martin, and we're just having a great time. Love Martin.
He's allowed to believe I'm a mythological creature. It might turn into a story one day, and if it's going to turn into a story, I want him to be the one that tells it, right?
You better believe it. You bet. And anybody who's not yet discovered Jawbone, Martin Shaw's new YouTube channel, terrific. Burn, what say you? I met the Georgian delegation found me today, and they said, come to Georgia.
What Georgian delegation? Who are you talking about? People
John
who
Hears, who of course is deep in the ortho community,
mm-hmm.
got 4 Georgians to come to ARC.
Wow.
And he said, I'm sending them to you, Paul, because they know who you are and they want you to come. So I said, do you know Burn Powers? And they're like, no. Do you know Mark from Tbilisi? They're like, no. They're not corner people, but said, you definitely have to come to ARC. So, or you have to come to Tbilisi. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, what I'm hoping for, this is just an aside to all of this. I want to get back to this, but what I'm hoping for is, I turned 70 this year, and I'm having. It's in the middle of the summer in July, and I'm having a special do here, and I'm going to do a gathering in Georgia, as well as invite friends. Like they'll kind of overlap on my birthday, and it's great because there's like a music festival, traditional music festival that happens around that time, and plus go into the mountains. But what I was thinking is, if we could raise the money to get you here, would you consider coming?
This you're talking summer of 2026 or 2025?
No, this summer. Third week in July or so.
Skeptical.
Okay, yeah, I'm not. Anyway, that's just an aside. So, no, my feeling about these is I see these names coming up and such, and I'm sitting there saying, they're getting all of this technique from corporate structures. And it's like somebody's been to too many conferences and Marriott's and stuff, and it's not, that doesn't connect. I would say they'd be much better, although I'm not a huge fan of like geek conventions. They'd be much better to look at how the panels are run on those things. And there's a sense of, I'm watching people like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker and a whole bunch of other people who are kind of adjacent to us somewhere out there, but you see them up there and they have effectively colonized the space. They've gone from being YouTubers to being the people everyone wants to see there.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting about that is there is a sense within that structure of mobility. Of there are people I've seen on the periphery a year ago, weren't part of the scene, came in with a YouTube channel because they're so focused on certain issues related to film and video games and these kind of things. Now they're panelists. You don't get that feeling at all from what's going on with ARC. That is to say, it feels like, who are the most celebrated people who we could get to provide, status for our event. And it just feels like, no. It's just like, no. Which is why I do little things like, I did one gathering in Georgia, but I also do little things here where I get together with people and have discussions and such like that. But I think it's all the little things that in the end change the culture. It's not the big top-down stuff.
It's all the stuff below. Shane, or no, Brian, you were next. What say you, Brian?
Oh, what Ern said about the conventions reminded me of the ABA has a conference, and I go there, and I never buy the American Bar Association. They have an antitrust conference over in Washington, and I never buy a ticket, and they have receptions afterwards that all the attorneys and consultants, they all do. And so we just go to those and we chat to each other and all that kind of stuff. They should have receptions, although I guess they're all fancy exclusive parties down there, so you can't have people crashing those.
Yeah. No, and that's, I don't know. It's deeply frustrated, as you could hear from the rant. Shane, what say you?
Just how much I appreciate your way of thinking. I wish that there was something more like Estuary in the experience that I have with church, because the bones, the meat of church happens in those in between spaces where it's not the presentation, it's not the whatever it is. I mean, I certainly enjoy and appreciate and benefit from the liturgy, but the sustaining partnership in life comes in those little bits of conversation and interaction that happen in the in-between spaces, and that has to be deliberate. If it's not deliberate, then in a certain sense, you're almost fighting against the purpose of it. It may come to me, the circumstance that fits this metaphorically, that I was interacting with recently, but where, like you said, the I don't know what you call it, like the mission statement of the thing itself is the thing that you're most inhibiting. Like, come on, people. Are we a family or not? Are we trying to get to know each other or not? Is this a movement of the people or not? And whatever that is, the ground up
saying this, the people have, because of the Trump election. Well, the people have spoken. It's like,
hello,
we're trying.
I have to be humble and say I'm guilty, even in conversation, of being uncomfortable with silence and things like that. Like where I feel like I am in a certain way being asked to perform, and so I want to be as charitable as I can be. Like if I was given the responsibility for putting on one of these things, I would probably do all the same stupid stuff.
Yeah, because like Byrne said, I mean, it's corporate and political, and what they've just done is they are practicing what they've always been enculturated to practice. And you're exactly right, Byrne. I mean, there's a lot that has gone on in religious and cultural spaces to create other kinds of events that pursue the outcomes. But it's like, who's ever in charge of this thing, it's just the political and corporate stuff. So
yeah. Well, Os Guinness in a lecture once said something interesting, and curiously enough, I've had the same issue with him. That is to say, he's got a certain amount of status, has had it since the late 70s, and but he made an interesting point, which I think is relevant to here. He said there was a man talking to someone at Yale, and someone was saying, this was actually like a news or I don't remember the exact context, but anyway, he says, so do you pay attention to the man was a Christian. He says, do you pay attention to what is said at the Yale Divinity School? And he goes, oh, no. They're completely liberal. I don't do anything with them. And then he said, but evidently you pay attention to what they say in their business school. And he goes, oh, absolutely. And he didn't get the fact that those two were exactly the same thing, the same philosophy. And that's what a lot of these people today who are, trying to do what they're doing, they make that mistake. They think that, okay, we're not going to say the same ideas as the other people. And then they use the same format, not realizing, as Marshall McLuhan once said, the medium is the message. So if you put something on television, you either obey the rules of television or not. YouTube, what's happening now is I find there's so many people. I look at these, I've got this shrimpy little channel, and I look at how people say you should grow, and they say you should follow the algorithms. Yes, follow the algorithms. And some of them say it doesn't matter what you do. If you want to monetize, follow the algorithms. And I'm sitting there going, if I did that, I would just lose my soul.
I told Martin Shaw, Martin, somebody else is like doing the YouTube thing for Martin. I said, Martin, you're hitting it out of the park. You're doing exactly right. And I said, pay no attention to the algorithm, Martin. Just keep making what you're making. And the bad news is it's not going to grow real huge, because you said, well, what does feed the algorithm? I said, have you heard of Mr. Bean? And Martin Shaw said no. Or Mr. Beast. Martin Shaw said no. I said, keep it that way, Martin. So
he should have heard of Mr. Bean. Hey, Paul, I'm going to do my part to make sure you have a good breakfast.
All right.
Remind you that if you run into Harris, take good care of him. And if you run into Neil,
ran into him the first day.
Good. And if you run into that Neil the Great,
I haven't spent enough time with him, but he's here and he's representing, and God bless Ups.
I hope he was wearing a Denny hat. If you run into that Neil the Great fella, tell him I need about 50 more of these decks so I can hawk them. And the Jux deck card of the show is the Jack of Spades.
I will tell Neil. All
right. You have a great time and a great breakfast, sir.
Thank you. Any last words? Other last words, people? Because I got to go get my breakfast.